functionality. To deal with a casino, you've got to be able to deal with, very large properties. You've got to be able to touch a lot of points in the resort. You've got to have, integrated restaurant operations. You got to have ticketing. You got to be able to manage golf courses. You got to be able to manage spa. There's from a functionality standpoint, a casino is going to be the top end of the functionality scale. And then floating under that would be a large scale resort, let's say a Pinehurst or a Pebble Beach or something like that. That's kind of next on the functionality scale, right?
Yeah.
And those two segments have a lot of similar functionality. And then from a functionality standpoint, you sort of step down to, believe it or not, boutique hotels. There's tons of those things. They're fairly small, but they need a lot of functionality, right? Because almost every one of them has a spa and a restaurant or skiing or something. So they need even a further subset of that stack of functionality. And then over here, you got kind of corporate hotels. You got full service hotels. You got convention hotels. You got limited service hotels. Those are sort of a separate, there's a lot of common functionality between the two, but there's also a lot of disparate functionality between the two. A corporate hotel really doesn't care about, spa packages, for example, or owner accounting or those sorts of things. They need a PMS, they need tie-ins to global distribution, and they need to manage the on-site restaurant. Yeah. But they need to be able to do it in volume.
So if I were to think about the tiering, casino, and then resorts and then hotels.
That's the way I do it. I break it down into gaming, resorts, and then I got hotels, which I break down into convention, full service, boutique, and limited service.
What's the difference between convention and full service?
Convention deals with a lot of groups. They may have a lot of meeting space that they got to manage. So they do a lot of heavy sales and catering sort of stuff.
Got it. Okay. Very helpful. And if I were to think about the ASP or the average deal size for casinos, resorts, and the hotels, how would you ballpark the average deal size?
Boy, it's floating all over the place now. For years, I'm going to call two applications anchor applications, right?
Mm-hmm.
And by an anchor application, I mean you get it into a property, and then you will have either the opportunity to sell a lot of surrounding applications, or you're going to have to integrate to a lot of surrounding applications. You're going to have to do one of the two. So anchor applications have historically been property management systems and point of sale systems. Okay.
Yeah.
Both of them are hard to get in. You get them in, they're sticky. They don't leave. You got a lot of integration points. They offer a lot of opportunity to sell, add-on functionality. But what's happening right now is that the price of those two applications is getting driven down.
Yeah.
The add-on applications like, mobile apps and remote guest check-in and mobile ordering and, marketing apps and those sorts of things are actually carrying, apples to apples higher prices.
And then just, sorry, Alex, just jumping in for one or two quick questions.
Sure.
Jim, I'm one of Alex's colleagues, just maybe talking specifically about Agilysys a little bit. Understand sort of what's going on in the market, but on Agilysys specifically, a couple of questions. One, their position in the market seems like they're pretty strong in the casino and the high-end sort of resort market. We read that they have this new product called Our Guest. How real is that in terms of growth? Is it really kind of on the low end right now? Is it seeing good traction, or is it too early right now in terms of the performance?
I'm sorting through public and non-public in my mind. Let me think a minute about what I can say.
Yeah. And by the way, what we picked up is that in the public documents, they talk about, how much of the revenue is Our Guest every